Hey guys, and a very warm welcome to Friday Fretworks. This week I'm going to be tackling another lick. I know I've done a lick lesson relatively recently, but again this is a lick that someone's actually pointed out to me and asked specifically if I could try and break it down a little. So I thought now would be a good point to do it. It sounds a little bit like this. As you can see, it's not too dissimilar from the one that we did last time, which to be honest is one of my main reasons for actually wanting to break it down now, because they do go relatively well together. So I thought now would be as good a chance as any to kind of, deconstruct it and kind of hopefully explain a little bit more about it. So without further ado, let's take it away. So, as with deconstructing anything, I think the best place to start is probably the start. So, the first note that you're going to be playing today is actually going to be on your 11th fret of your B string, and we're going to bend it up to your 12th fret. Now, the only kind of obviously tricky thing about this bend is something that people picked up on in the last lesson I did, is that it's actually bending with your first finger, which for many guitarists is not something that is kind of comes that naturally, I guess, because it's not something you do. If you're going to be bending, you're most likely going to be doing it with, well, your third finger or I guess your second finger at a stretch, And you could do that for this, but it's going to make the next part that little bit more awkward. In regard to advice for bending with your first finger, it's just one of those things that I think I've probably been doing it, I guess, for the past 4, 5, 6 years maybe now, and I can entirely appreciate why it's something that isn't all that natural, a lot of people, and I'd be lying if I said that to start off it didn't hurt, it was kind of giving me a bit of jip, but I guess over the past couple of years the calluses on the end of my index finger as well as its strength have just kind of gradually improved, and I'm where I am now and I find it relatively easy. So it's just one of those things that if you want to be good at it, as with anything else, just stick at it and practice it and it'll get better. So as I said, we're going to bend up from a B flat to a B on your B string. Before, very similar to last week, or the week before rather, we're going to have a momentary kind of slide almost back up to the 12th fret before going back down to your 11th. The moment I try and slow it down too much is the moment it ceases to sound like the lick, but I shall give it a go. So, as I said, it is a very kind of momentary thing, and it's something that only happens once in the lick as far as I'm aware, without deconstructing the rest of it yet. So it's just a cool little kind of nuance. So your next bit, we're going to be going down to the 13th fret on your G string, G sharp, before the 13th fret on your D string, D sharp. Next, we're going to be sliding up from a G flat or an F sharp up to a G sharp on your G string. Now, this is where it does get a little bit more interesting because we're going to be using your first finger to bend again, but this time, instead of being a half step, it's actually going to be a full step. It's not the end of the world if you only kind of hit half step with it, but given it is in a major key, it would be nice if you could get up a full step. So that's the bend. So we're going to be bending from your 13th fret, in essence, up to your 15th. Back down, but such is the nature of it, it's very fleeting, so don't get too panicked about holding it up there too long, because we're going to be coming straight back off it down to your 11th fret, and then to complete the lick from your 11th fret we're going to slide back up to your 13th before sliding all the way down to your 8th fret. So in context, now you can, I don't know whether you noticed, I did that pretty much as kind of one fell swoop. You can hit it multiple times, you can hit your G string as many times as needs be. But what you gain in consistency of note strength, I guess, you do lose in terms of fluidity and how just generally flowing it feels and how similarly it sounds to a slide lick. So if you do this, I think that sounds cleaner and a little bit smoother than, or something similar. Again, it's not the end of the world if you're not getting the kind of strength in that first slide in order to make it down to your 8th fret, but it's one of those things that it's definitely worth working on. So there we have it. To give it some kind of context, as I mentioned earlier, it does fit very nicely with the lesson that we did 2 weeks ago. So to kind of put that into reference, there we go. As I said earlier, I hope that's of some use to you, and I hope there's bits that you can kind of nick from it and incorporate into your own playing. You know, this is not so much to give you a lesson of something that I do lick for, note for note, so much as just kind of maybe cool little bits that you want to incorporate into your playing, and make it your own thing. So, as ever, if you enjoyed this, please do subscribe, share, comment. All that kind of good YouTube stuff. And I shall see you next week for another episode of Friday Fretworks. Cheers, guys. Take care.